Well, hello there. My name is Susan Hamilton, and you're watching OffBeat Business TV or listening to the OBBM Network podcast. I'm excited to share with you local businesses that are going to get you inspired to get back up and move powerfully today.
Welcome to OffBeat Business TV and the OBBM Network podcast. CEO and host Susan Hamilton shares vital insight from local DFW leaders on successful life and business, focused squarely on local family business. It's time for our nation to rise, and we'll do it through a vibrant local business sector that stands up for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Ready to meet your advocates? Here's your host.
What a day. This is an interesting time to be alive and in business. We're coming to you from DFW, actually the work suites in Allen, to be clear. But there's a lot of businesses out there that are using these large buildings, and they're moving either up to use this space smarter, or they're downsizing their business and they're needing to use these buildings. And this is an interesting time. So I've got Wes Smith today from Securitas Electronic Security. There's a lot going on in the communities, Wes, and you bring a level of commitment to the marketplace that I think is important to talk about. So welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So you didn't just go to school for this, wake up one day and decide, hey, security is what I want to do. You have a passion for protecting people that goes way back.
Wait a minute, I wanted to do this from the time I was 5.
Yeah?
So, no, I moved to Dallas to be a Dallas police officer, and I was there from 88 till I was medically retired in 01. And then, went through several years of recovering from where a drunk driver had retired me, and then I went to work for the state as a special investigator, did that for about 5.5 years, and wandered into this business in November of 09. Memory serves right, and done everything from residential small business to now commercial enterprise sales.
So what were some of those pivotal events that moved you from doing what you were doing to going, wait a minute, I think security is really smart for me to get into?
Well, simple. Law enforcement was a drunk driver and 27 back operations. The other was hunting down human traffickers the news doesn't talk about, and after 5.5 years saying, I don't want to go to jail, it was very stressful, and I was going to find something else to do. And then doing this, just fell in love with it because I found out getting started in this business that there were a lot of people who sold for their pockets, let's say, and wanted to make the most money they could. I still like solving problems, so it has been fun and enjoyable all the way.
So what are some of those bigger problems that you're seeing with regards to the security that we have? Because you're not talking about, you don't walk around people, you're not their personal security, you're electronic security for buildings, and large buildings at that. Right
now, the biggest thing is, like you said, people are moving into spaces like this. Mm-hmm. Their business has changed, but they're still needing security. And I don't care if it's an old building, I don't care if it's a new building, okay? When that building was put up, the construction company and the people who are going to be leasing or renting the space and stuff did certain things to protect them and basic stuff for everybody who comes into it. Everybody has a unique need. There are people out there who still like to sell for their pocket and tell you that it's going to cost you all of this. Sometimes it's real simple, okay? I don't mind telling people it's a simple solution and here's how you can do it. They just need the knowledge to know, okay? It's what level do they need, what do they expect, and how they want to utilize things. Once they know that, they'll know what's best for their situation. I don't ever walk in telling people what's going to work for them. Now, we'll tell them, no, I don't care what they said, that's not going to work. But here's your options. So
what are some of the funniest things that you've seen? Because I imagine going into these businesses and having to adjust what they're currently doing to, you probably had, in the process, have seen some things that you had to bring to the attention of the decision maker.
Biggest thing that some business owners do is they try to treat all things the same, okay? You drive a different car from me. Everybody drives a car for the reasons they drive it. Mm-hmm. Some of them big, some of them small. Some of them electric, some of them not electric. Everything has a use it's meant for. Just walking into a building like this, and seeing somebody use a residential alarm system they went to a big box store and picked up thinking it's going to meet all their needs. It doesn't meet the insurance requirements. It won't cover their liability. And matter of fact, when you don't use the right thing for your security, it can increase your liability if something was to happen.
Now, in that situation, the person using the space has no idea.
That's right. Because they're trusting the person who did it. And even if they do, sometimes recognize that they think they know what they're doing. No offense, not everybody makes a decision based upon how the protection is going to go. Sometimes they think, well, this is going to make a noise when someone does something. Well, it takes a little more than making a noise.
So if I needed to reach out to you, what's that workflow look like? I mean, is it difficult? Is it laborious? Is there any big reason why people put off talking to someone about securing their property?
Oh, it's kind of like the reason they don't want to go to a doctor because they found a bump.
Yeah.
They think it's going to cost a whole lot. You know, they're going to worry. They're going to think they're going to do something to patch it and it's going to do what it's going to do. It would be like me trying to fix my car. Okay, I can probably stop it from making a noise for a minute, but I can guarantee you that end repair is going to be a whole lot worse. It's better to start early because if they know now, obviously I can come in and fix something, or anybody can come in and fix something that's just focused on this one point, simple. But if you continue to let it happen, then who knows? You're going to end up with probably that worry that you were worried about coming to life and being a real fact you don't want to live with.
Now I'm listening to you and I'm thinking to myself that there's probably situations that grow, right? I mean, you need to really have a relationship with the person taking care of this,
yes,
so that you can see things as they erupt, as they move forward. So do you have that graduated approach when you're working with a business that you're going to come in and say, okay, this is where we can start and this is what I foresee needing to happen?
That's what I do with all my clients.
Excellent.
Okay, I mean, I start off here. It doesn't matter if it's this building or another one. This is what we can do to start now. But I can also tell them, look, we know that this system here that you've got, this fire system or this alarm system, it's no longer supported. So we need to start planning. Let me give you the numbers so you'll know what it's going to take to fix it here in 6 months. We don't want to wait for it to die.
I want to back up that. That was a great big bullet, really. What do you mean that it might not be supported?
There are a lot of systems, okay, that are on the road today, so to speak, that have been working just fine for 30 years, 40 years. But that company was sold or quit manufacturing that part 15 years ago. I've got a company I'm working with now who's been working on putting together parts of a fire system that was discontinued in 2010.
Oh my.
The company they've had has continued to walk in and do patches and recut wiring and try and make the stuff work.
I would never think that would happen. The things we take for granted.
And now it's to the point that the fire marshal has said, if it's not fixed, I'm going to shut you down. Okay? Now, it's not a simple expense, but they want to use the existing wiring in the building because there are systems that will work off of that wiring. Yeah. But by doing that, it's a much more expensive system. In this particular case, it's simpler and less costly for them to just do a whole new thing. Instead of trying to leave wiring up there that is 30 years old, 20 years old, putting in the new stuff makes it a lot cheaper to maintain and take care of.
I bet that solves a whole lot of problems just to go ahead and get that ripped out and put in new.
It will. You know, now it's going to be a pain to start off with, but hey, once the dental work's done, it's a beautiful smile.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. That does sound like a painful scenario. So when you've got one building, one owner, do you work with the owner? You work with building management? Who's your client?
It can be the owner.
Yeah.
It can be the building management. It depends on how the system's designed to work. I can deal with anybody from the person who sits in the office to the people who control all the properties.
And are you looking at some of these plazas? Those are all the clients of yours as well?
Yes.
Wonderful, wonderful. So where are you primarily doing work in DFW? Do you have a particular area that more of your work can be found? More
work be found. We do a whole lot of work. a whole lot of work
I found
in
the
Texas.
busiest man in security and asked him that question. Forgive me, Wes. We're getting to know you. We're getting to know Securitas Electronic Security and all those things that means. And I think that's really fabulous that you bring so much to the table, that you've got a heart for already protecting this community and all the things that you see. So I just kind of want to know, is it more Dallas, more Fort Worth, a little of all?
To be honest with you, it's literally a lot of both. Not a little of both, it's a lot of both. For North Texas, it's just me and my running buddy Ryan Tapper.
Oh my
That's
goodness.
just us.
That's really amazing.
You know, the Securitas is one of the largest sole security companies in the world. Okay, but they take a very small town approach. It's just us. You don't have 1,000 people to call. Now, does that mean we stay busy? Oh, yes. But guess what? I've been busy my whole life. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can make the thing work. And you're going to see me. You're not going to see some stranger who got hired. So it's just us. And right now, I've had to talk with my boss. He's scared to get rid of either one of us because so far, everybody likes us. So far.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to hear from a few of our sponsors and we're going to be right back. Are you enjoying this conversation? We'll be right back after a few of these messages.
We are being censored. America's news outlets no longer provide the truth. 90% of news outlets in the United States are controlled by 6 corporations. They're not out to tell you the truth of what's happening. They're out to tell you the picture of the world that they represent. The mission of the Epoch Times is to chase the truth, to ground all statements in facts, and prevent people from being misled. The Epoch Times is independent. We're not controlled by any special interests, and we never will be. The Epoch Times is a non-partisan media. That means we don't stand for any political party. This is a battle between truth and deceit, a battle between forces that would ensnare this country in ignorance, and between a media that wants to present you with the truth. Subscribe today and join the Americans who are seeking truth and tradition. We'd love to have you on board.
My American dream is to help you stay healthy and energized so you can live your American dream.
Our American dream is equipping future generations of American dreamers.
My American dream is to protect my community so they can live their American dream.
My American dream is to bring you some spice and flavor to your life.
Our American dream is ensuring what's most valuable to you.
Our American dream is creating opportunities for healthcare providers so they can have their American dreams.
My American dream is serving our business community and advocating for all of your American dreams.
And we're back. I'm talking with Wes Smith with Securitas Electronic Security, and we're learning a little bit about the clients that he's serving here in the DFW area. So when we went to break, we talked a little bit about the types of people that you're serving, and I want you to get real specific with them because you're networking and you're looking for these larger businesses, but I know of you because of what you're doing in the community already. You've built a really great network.
Thank you.
So how do those connections get made? I'd really love to camp on that for a second because it's smart. You're reaching into this community, you're steady, you're not missing any work. You're getting in there and filling up your schedule, and you're using a lot of those great relationships in the community to meet others. So I want to be a part of that, and I want to make sure that we are sharing you with the people that need you today, because this is a heightened time for security. It's not just all the talk about health. There's a significant talk now about safety, especially with the escalated political climate.
Right.
So tell me where this fits and how you're going after this business here in DFW.
I enjoy fixing problems, okay? And that's a different approach, okay? A lot of people in this world that I work in, take orders. Okay, they come in, they deal with people who sit in an office who've got fancy letters at the end of their name who say, here, this is what I want. Okay, that's an easy way to do it. I'm not smart enough to do it that way. I look at what they tell me, and I'm not afraid to say, I know why you're doing that, but let me ask you these questions. Because they have been trained to look at it this way, okay? Well, what I learned early on as a rookie police officer, okay? If you do things in routine, you're gonna get in trouble, okay? You gotta look at what you're doing it with.
Did you hear that? That's fascinating, and I really liked it. Yes, wow, good. Very rare that you hear people say that because it's all about the routine, it's all about the process, but really, you're right. You've got to look a little deeper than that. You can lose some stuff in a routine.
Well, now hold on. It's still a process.
Yes.
Okay? But you have to ask questions, okay? And I've got to know that when I do something, because if I go in and I was to do a standard setup for cameras for this building, that'd be simple. I could walk in management and say, here's how we want them done. Okay, look at the prints. But I look at the way people walk in and out of the building. I look at the access to it. I look at the way the roads go by, the driving around it. Is that gonna work? Just because you've done it this way on this shaped building 10 other times, this building's not in the same place.
Yeah.
People park different here than they do in the other place. People come and go through the building. There are little things that need to be asked, because just because you got the camera doesn't mean it's going to work the way you want it to work. The same thing with your security system. Who needs to come, who needs to go, what's the access, those type of things. Access control. People now may not all be working an 8-hour or 10-hour day, but you probably still got somebody coming into work that needs to come to the office. Maybe now they're coming in at 2 in the morning. Have you adjusted the system to adjust for that and to know that it's Wes who's coming up here and doing the work at 2 a.m. instead of not knowing who came up and turned off the alarm and wondering what was going on? There are little things that can be done to make the system work better in this environment that you're in. It doesn't work the same way as it did when everybody came in an 8 to 10 hour shift at one time.
Yeah.
The facilities aren't being used that way again. Will they ever be used that way again? I do not have the answer. But I know I can give you and give that management, to give that business owner something to give them the information to know that, first off, the way they pay for their family and help other people support their families taken care of. I can give them the information to better know how the workforce is working. And I can help them now know how to mitigate their risk around the clock instead of just guessing. So it involves having to do a little bit more than just, here's what I want.
I love the round the clock consideration because it's not just showing up, coming in maybe at 3 in the morning. Mm-hmm. It's working later, mm-hmm. right? And it's really protecting the people in your building that are going to be having those strange hours that you really haven't thought about. And do they have antiquated systems, or are they really going to be protected? Mm-hmm. Or is criminal activity going to be documented, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're looking at security, really instead of me just assuming we all understand that, talk to us about what that is. Talk to the marketplace a little more specifically.
About what security is?
What is security? Is it the cameras? Right? Is it tracking problems?
And then I'm going to ask you a question.
Yes.
What is security to you?
See, I would think that it's the cameras around, but it's more for documentation. Is that how we need to look at it today, or can we stop problems before they become a horrific crime using better security protocols?
Yes, and yes. Okay, because look, every business owner, look at our boots. Mm-hmm. They're different. Mm-hmm. Security needs are different for you than they are for me. Okay? My business has a different concern than yours does. It needs to be adjusted to accomplish the same thing. What are we looking for? Because your security may be, yes, I want to protect my employees when they're coming in. Mine may be, yeah, I need to protect them too, but I also need to protect that information that they're dealing with because of what we're doing. Okay, I may need to track the stuff. I may be taking medical records and picking them up and storing them, taking them from the office in the hospital to the storage facility, and I need to know what's going on in between. So it's all of those things. But it's not the same. We're not wearing the same boots. Your security needs are not the same as mine. What I like doing is what you need, because it's not the same thing.
No, but I love that you articulated that, because we do need to have a clearer idea of what it takes to have a more secure environment. I mean, typically, Wes, I'm talking to people all the time about what it looks like to have cyber security, right? And I've heard the phrase cyber defense, and I like that. But you're doing a different level of security all over for that building, for that perimeter. And you and I have all seen those clips on the news where the video capture was awful. You couldn't pin that guy for that criminal activity, for anything, and you're going to show it to the whole world and expect somebody to find it. Is that an example of antiquated equipment?
Could just be a poor install.
Yeah.
Somebody could be using the wrong camera for what's needed for where it's looking. I run into it all the time for distribution facilities who've had somebody else come in and put in cameras, and they think they need a whole new camera system when all they need is a camera system, a camera that will take into account that there's brighter light outside than there is inside. They didn't do that when they did it before, so everything once you walk past the door is all shadowed, or beyond that door is all a big white blur, like somebody's going into the light after they die. It takes a moment to not here's what I want, but to ask the question, and then for me to go back to you and say, I see why you want that, but that camera does this, and here's why I think we need to adjust that.
There's probably a difference in the way insurance policies are run based on how much coverage you can get off of that camera.
Yes.
Yes? Because I think it's important to get that periphery. A lot of people are looking into the periphery for where can they find evidence.
There's a whole bunch of health and safety managers and risk assessment folks who work for companies who want to make sure the people working in the warehouse are using the stuff the right way, not holding doors open anymore and letting things in. Just finished doing a whole bunch of new access add-ons for a municipality that somehow had a review done, and to help with their COVID liability, we were putting access points on doors that have never had access before, so nobody could randomly walk in or anything. So it can be done for a variety of reasons, but the liability now is taking into account COVID, because that was the first time I'd ever heard for COVID liability, we need to add these doors.
Interesting. I can't wait to hear some of the stories. I just know you've got something funny to tell me.
Oh, I don't have anything funny.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
I'm quite aware that you've got something funny to share. And because there's no way you see everything that you see after all these years. You said you started this when?
88, when I started in law enforcement,
yeah. Yeah, you've seen a handful of things, and I'm excited to share that. Just give us a little highlight about what we're going to hear when we come back from our sponsors.
Had a lady wanted me to arrest a Dachshund one time.
Okay.
Little four-legged wiener dog Dachshund, wanted it handcuffed and taken to jail.
Okay, so she might have been a little Looney Tunes.
I don't know if she was Looney Tunes. She sounded serious to me at the time.
We got more of that, and we'll be back in just a few moments. You're going to hear more from Wes Smith telling us about Securitas Electronic Security. Strong business has always been the clear economic indicator. WorkSuites in Allen, Texas is just one of 18 locations in DFW and Houston that support your necessary transitions with full service and affordable workspaces for upgrading or downsizing your current workload. You need to be focused on growth. Trust the office experts and helpful staff at WorkSuites to take care of everything else, from dedicated phone lines and internet to furnished executive and co-working spaces. The OBBM network has tripled our business in the short months we've been with WorkSuites and encourages you to step out boldly, make the tough decisions, and give back to work your way. Your nation depends on it. The OBBM network acknowledges that this is a pivotal time in history, and it is clear the United States of America has been undermined by many of our elected officials for some time now. We want our local business audience to stand strong in the face of what we now understand, and to be empowered to grow our businesses on the local level beyond the limitations that have been imposed upon us. We believe it is in our national interest to inspire our communities through strong economic development, and additionally to hold our elected officials accountable for accurate representation of we the people. For that reason, we encourage you to go to WeStandForFreedom.com to learn about the national Write Your Congressman organization that has been the trusted communication tool for local communities for over 60 years. Learn how your representatives are voting. Understand the laws and regulations under consideration on the state and federal level before they are enacted at the county and city levels. Communicate directly with these officials and stand up for yourself, for by doing so, you will protect the communities you serve from tyrannical rule and unconstitutional reforms. The OBBM Network is the premier voice for local business, and we take that responsibility seriously. The OBBM Network has everything you need to grow and transition your business for success on popular syndicated podcast networks, Roku and other video channels, and the OBBM Network app. We work for you, local business, and we've got your back. Hey, before we went to break, Wes was telling us about some of the crazy stuff that he has seen that might inspire you to really rethink your building's security. Because especially now with the round-the-clock schedules and everybody behaving very differently. So what are some of the things maybe we should be looking at?
Utilizing your video better.
Yeah.
Okay? You ask me, off camera, what do I like to do?
Yes.
Sorry about that. You asked me off camera what I like to do. Video verification, okay? There's a big growth in municipalities because budget cuts and a whole bunch of other stuff, okay? Law enforcement needs a verified alarm, okay? And how do you verify an alarm? Two ways. You're sitting in the building, you're watching them kick in the door, come in, you're telling them what's going on in person right now. Or someone at my monitoring center, at Securitas' monitoring center, is sitting there watching it happen and telling the police what's going on right now and where they're going in the building. Now, why is that important? Because it can work in more than just the alarm. Okay, remember we got people working different hours now. It's not uncommon for someone to come in at 3 a.m. Okay, you're in 3 a.m. You're coming in, you've got a high data thing. You want to make sure your employees are safe. Fantastic. And call the monitoring center on the phone and they can be walked in and they can tell them what it looks like. You know, it's safe to go in. You know your employee's safe. You've taken safety for next to no money and made your employee know that they're taken care of by walking from the parking lot into the building where it's secure and locked up behind them. We know if someone's trying to fall and sneak in the door. You know that you don't have to pay false alarm fees when the alarm goes off because now it's been verified to say, hey, no, it's a balloon blowing around. You need to get somebody down there to take care of it. Or someone actually breaking in, okay? So you're not gonna get those fines. Those fines start off small sometimes not so small. And after 3 or 4 of them, they just stop coming. So you wanna make sure law enforcement always shows up, give them a reason to show up, make it a verified response. Know that your employees are safe. Let it be looked at and know what's going on. Don't have those questions to where at 2 in the morning, you've had a long day, you're sound asleep and someone calls you, hey, the alarm's going off here. We don't know what's going on. Well, let me get on my camera. And you're trying to work through that deep sleep on your phone, trying to see what's going on. And after 15 minutes of not getting it done right because you were sound asleep, you tell them, oh, don't worry about it. You don't know what happened. You know, there's a worst case scenario, and I've got a bunch of them. There's also the scenario of that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Okay? Real life scenario. Really happened. Not a funny story. Young lady got out of a car here in Dallas, 6 miles from where we're at, to come in doing COVID. She had the thing on her phone, called the station to follow her in. They were able to follow the person in and help lock them out before they could get to her. Now, that young lady is safe today. I've got countless stories where I've worked them personally with a badge where they didn't turn out that way. So there are things that you can do that don't cost a lot, but will save you the repercussions of a business owner ending up in a lawsuit with a family because something happened to somebody. And then on the funny side of that, things that cause more business situations to go crazy are where one coworker and the other coworker decide that they really like each other and they want to leave their spouses, and work's the place they meet. No offense to your office, it should be for work and not for friendly relationships. So You find that out too. So on the other side, be ready for what you find out from the cameras. You may not want to know that.
You may want to pass that off to someone else.
Right.
Wes, how do people get a hold of you when it's time to update their security?
Oh, they can just call me at 214-477-6692.
Do you have a website?
We do. It is securitases.com.
Fabulous. Friends, if you are realizing that you might be in this environment and it's time to take a look at what you've got, what your existing situation is, you might need a new system, but you might just be able to work with what you've got, but you don't want to have the downside of that and be prepared. So reach out to Wes here in DFW and find out what you need to do to grow your business. Until next time, you've been watching Offbeat Business TV or listening to the OBBM Network podcast.